6 proven ways to increase your brain power. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Brain games. Have you ever tried to complete a crossword puzzle? What about a game of Sudoku? Or maybe you like the challenge of solving a Rubik's Cube. These kinds of puzzles are all types of brain games, which are effective and entertaining ways to improve your memory, intelligence, and attention. In fact, no matter what cognitive function you want to improve on, there is probably a brain game out there designed specifically for it. Imagine you're trying to add 2 phone numbers in your head. The math isn't all that hard, but most people just can't remember that many numbers at the same time. Or maybe you want to memorize a list of 12 things you need at the grocery store without having to write it all down. Like most people, you'll probably end up forgetting at least 3 or 4 of them. These activities require something called short-term memory retention, which is a skill that many people want to improve on. Normally, you can only handle about 7 pieces of information at any given time. But by exercising your brain with games designed for memory retention, like concentration or the suitcase game, you can gradually increase that number up to 10, 12, or even more. Number 2, video games. So what about other types of games like first-person shooters or racing games? They're obviously fun to play, but can they actually improve your brain power? Despite what most parents tell their kids, video games can have an extremely positive effect on cognitive and spatial performance. In fact, a 2013 study showed that playing video games in place of therapy can actually help people who had suffered a stroke recover faster. Similarly, a study by the Basque Research Center found that video games, specifically action and shooter games, improved visual attention, reaction time, and even reading ability in a group of children with dyslexia. Part of the reason that researchers think video games are so effective is because they're genuinely fun. When we're enjoying something, we tend to perform better at it because it makes us passionate and competitive. Without even realizing it, people who play video games are constantly absorbing thousands of pieces of information, which they practice pulling from at any given moment. Of course, the entertainment value of video games also has its downsides. As helpful as they are for concentration, reaction time, and problem solving, overconsumption has been associated with unhealthy habits, social anxiety, and even depression. So, if you want to improve your brain power, video games are an effective way to do it, but make sure you only play them in moderation. Number 3. Music. In 2007, a study conducted by Stanford University tested whether listening to music had any noticeable effects on brain power. They predicted that simply listening to certain songs could improve our memories, attention spans, and even our ability to make predictions. And they were right. After scanning dozens of people's brains while they were listening to classical music, researchers found huge increases in concentration and productivity. This is because music interacts with the parts of our brain that control memory and attention. By continuously engaging those areas, you're slowly but surely improving your brain power. While listening to music definitely has a positive impact, you can actually perform the best immediately after a song ends. According to a study conducted over 20 years ago, this short period of silence can actually boost your IQ by nearly 10 points. This phenomenon is called the Mozart effect and has been replicated by numerous studies over the last 2 decades. But listening to music isn't the only way that music can make you smarter. Another study from the University of Montreal found that musicians are, on average, more mentally alert and retentive in comparison to people who can't play an instrument. They also have faster reaction times and are much better at interpreting visual and auditory information. Over the years, researchers have come up with several different reasons why playing and listening to music have such powerful effects on the brain. One of the most common explanations has to do with our emotional attachment to the music we're playing or listening to. This is especially evident with musicians who pour their heart and soul into their music. When you have this kind of emotional attachment to a song, your brain essentially goes into overdrive, causing you to store more detailed memories, think more creatively, and integrate more senses like vision and touch. Since emotion plays such a huge role, you can't just listen to any old song to kickstart your brain. Even though most studies have used classical music, you can and should listen to whatever kind of music stimulates your emotions the most, as long as you can also focus on work while you're listening. Number 4, omega-3 fats. One of the most commonly used supplements on the market is something called fish oil. Most people take them to keep their heart and skin healthy without even realizing that these pills actually contain something that can dramatically improve the health of your brain. This something is called an omega-3 fatty acid, and it comprises almost 10% of your brain's weight. Without them, we begin to lose brain function because we're not supplying enough fats to repair our brains when they're damaged. This is why people who don't consume enough of these fats are more susceptible to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. But they don't just repair our brains. Omega-3 fatty acids also play a huge role in brain development. In fact, a 2005 study found that mothers who consumed very few omega-3 fats were more likely to have children with lower cognitive development. Those that consumed a lot of these important fats, on the other hand, were far more likely to have children with an especially high IQ. Luckily, you can find omega-3 fats in a number of different foods like soybeans, salmon, and flax seeds. All of these foods are healthy for a number of different reasons, so do yourself a favor and add at least one to your daily diet. Not only will this improve the health of your brain, but it will also help you stay sharp and productive no matter how old you get. Number 5, 8 hours of sleep. Have you ever tried to work or go to class on 4 to 5 hours of sleep? You probably felt exhausted, had a hard time focusing, and performed way worse than usual. So what is it about getting 8 hours of sleep every night that helps improve brain power? Sleep has all kinds of important neurological benefits like clearing out dead cells, managing your immune system, regulating your metabolism, and storing memories. When you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, you give your body plenty of time to relax, recharge, and detox, which leaves you feeling clear-headed and focused in the morning. So, when you decide you're going to stay up late the night before a big test, then wonder why you woke up feeling groggy and mentally exhausted, it's because your brain wasn't done resetting. Only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep allows toxins to build up in your brain. This means decreased cognition, low energy, and cloudy judgment, all of which can make it really difficult to perform when it counts. But what about sleeping too much? Why do you feel tired and inefficient after getting 11 or 12 hours of sleep? This happens because you're deviating from your body's natural sleep patterns. Everyone has something called an internal or circadian clock, which tells you when your body is ready to do different things. It tells you when you're feeling hungry, ready to go to sleep, and ready to wake up. But when you sleep too much, you're messing with the rhythm of that internal clock, which leaves you feeling lazy and fatigued. Of course, this isn't always the case. Every person's internal clock is unique, so some people actually perform better with less or more than the average 8 hours. The key is to pay attention to your body's signals so you can consistently maintain a schedule that keeps you feeling productive and energetic. Number 6, meditation. Meditation is probably the most challenging strategy on this list, but it can dramatically affect your ability to focus, retain information, and solve difficult problems. The effects of meditation are so strong that studies have proven that it actually can increase the size of your brain. Researchers at Harvard University, for example, scanned the brains of a group of meditation practitioners and were surprised to find that nearly every one of them had enlarged brains. Years of practicing meditation had developed the areas associated with short-term memory, attention, and complex thought. And it didn't stop there. These same individuals also showed remarkably low activity in the parts of the brain associated with depression, fear, and anxiety. Studies like this one show that meditation can have amazing effects on cognition, but it can take months or years of practice to get there. If you do want to take advantage of it, it's important that you start small and stay patient. Even though meditation seems pretty simple, you may only be able to meditate for 10 or 15 minutes at first. But no matter where you start, you should find a way to work meditation into your daily routine to start giving your brain power this massive boost.